Hello everybody and welcome back to Dark Horse Gaming. It's been a while. And we're doing something new.
We're here with Titanfall, and we're discussing about the difference and pros and cons about Titanfall.
What it is. Things like that. Okay, so starting off with gameplay and mechanics. I like the gameplay and mechanics. The speed of it's really nice, like with the parkour and everything like that, the wall running. It makes it really fast-paced, and it's a really different experience for most games. With other first-person shooters, it's very... like, you don't really notice it until after you play this, but it feels very slow after going back to it. It's kind of an interesting experience to go back.
And that's what I love about Titanfall, is because it's very fast-paced, like you said, and some games have that, and other games don't. Like, for instance, Battlefield. It's just... I think that there's too many vehicles and too many wide open areas that it's really slow. I love fast-paced
games.
Well,
I wouldn't say that it's like too many vehicles or something like that. It's a different style of game. Like, that one's supposed to be more of a serious, like not that Titanfall isn't serious, but like a realistic, down-to-earth kind of game, and it does have its downfalls, but it's a different kind of game. So as far as that goes, I don't know, but yeah.
I just like it because it's really fast-paced, and I play COD, and I go fast-paced, run and gun, and that's what I like most of the time.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you can have that perk that makes you run faster, and that's even crazier because you can just start like flying across the map.
Oh yeah.
It feels pretty crazy.
Especially when you wall run. I figured out that when you're walking or
like
running, when you're running, you run like really slow, and then when you're wall running, you're like speedy, like
well,
fast.
Yeah, and that's a design they put into the game too. Is that they put sort of like a build-up of speed as you wall run. So every time you jump from one wall to the next and run, you start building up momentum, so you can get across the map faster. And it's actually hard to pick up. Like it sounds pretty easy when you're listening to them talk about it, but like when you're actually doing it, it's difficult to keep up with what they're doing. But there are some maps that are designed better around it, so I mean, there's that. As far as... Go on.
So what makes this game so special, Ethan?
Well, again, the speed is nice. The interesting thing is having a vehicle that moves around like you do. Like, I think that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about. Like, it's just another vehicle in a game, but it moves like a person. Like, you just feel like a bigger person. Like, after playing Bioshock, it reminds me a lot of being like a big daddy, just towering over everyone else and different things like that. And it's kind of an interesting experience. I don't know. It's very different. And kind of tying into that is like Titans versus pilots is a big thing. And a lot of people I know were worried about like the fairness between like fighting a Titan and being a pilot, that you'd be no matter what screwed. But the interesting thing is that pilots can take down a Titan. Like, you have to seriously be worried about Titans or other pilots, because there's basically only one perk that allows you to get away from it, is that electric smoke, but then you lose the ability to use other perks, so...
And, like, it's not like when you're a pilot, you're hopeless against the Titans. I mean, there's other perks and tricks that you can do to actually defend yourself against the Titans, and it's really hard to... Once a Titan sees you, I mean, it's really hard to get away, because they're just mowing you down, they're just throwing explosives at you, and they're doing everything they possibly can.
That's another interesting thing, is like the speed of the Titans. Like, you'd think this giant lumbering robot would be really slow and it'd be hard to get away. Those things are fast. Like, they move, they have dashes, they move a lot faster than pilots even. But the thing is that pilots are able to wall run, so they're able to get away like that, so... I mean, there's that.
And then again, it's wall runs really fast and quick. But one thing I don't really like about the game is that the weapons and the selection of weapons is I'm a person that likes weapons. Like, I want to use this weapon for a certain amount of games, and then I'm like, I'm kind of tired of it, so I'll go try a different weapon, you know? I like using all the weapons as I possibly can and trying everything out.
Yeah, and see, I kind of think the opposite. This isn't a game that's centered around weapons. Like, Call of Duty is more of a game that's centered around the guns. Like, you have no character, you have no like storyline that's in the multiplayer. It's entirely based around the guns and learning how to use the guns, and this one isn't really, so I think I mean, it would be nice to have a couple more guns, because there's basically only the pistol and the rifles, but, I mean...
Well, Anyways, well, This one you don't have a character. I mean, you spawn as a randomly generated person, and if you're running a assault rifle, you're gonna be looking this person, and of course you can change your person to male or female, which is not really a big difference, but it's somewhat of a difference.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It's not necessarily that you need to have a character that has a background or something like that. It's just with the NPCs, like they're just normal grunts, like someone in Call of Duty or something like that, and you're all of a sudden this pilot that comes in that they need, like it's a battle changer when all of a sudden these pilots come in, and you feel it too. And that's something that I kind of thought was interesting, is how the people react to you being in the game. Is like all of a sudden they're like, oh look, a pilot, or a pilot just died, like we're basically now losing, or something like that, and it makes you feel really neat. So it's not necessarily that there's a storyline or a background to the characters, it's just that like you feel special.
As a sense, like in Halo, where you're basically the giant weapon of everything, and you go through all the aliens and killing everyone.
Yeah.
And whole lot of storyline behind it, but I mean, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and another kind of interesting thing, I really like the level design. That's something that's kind of a big thing with me is in games, is level design needs to be good. And a lot of complaints have been that the maps are small or something like that, but for a 6v6 game, you don't really need giant maps. Like, I mean, like, I can see how it could get kind of annoying, but you don't really know. Like, I feel like you get lost while you're in the game. Like, the levels are so dynamic that you can move around in so many different ways that you never really get lost, or you never really know exactly where you are, so it feels a lot bigger than it actually is. Like, if you were to look at it, they're actually pretty small, but there's just so few people and so much places to move that you never really notice.
And it's not just a 6v6, it's 6v6 with NPCs and other people, and there's grunts, then there's specters, and then there's pilots, which you kill. And I've noticed that specters have a little bit more health than pilots, or not pilots, but grunts do, and it's just different seeing that a robot is like has more health than a grunt. But the way they interact with everyone is really like weird, and the feeling that you get when you like destroy pilots and grunts and stuff like that, you feel like you're an awesome person, and that's what you're supposed to feel like. Like, that's what you're supposed to be, because the grunts and everyone are like, oh, we're a pleasure to have you here. Yeah, and going off of that, a big complaint about the game has been how easy the grunts are to kill. Like, their AI, like, realistically, their AI is pretty stupid. Like, you can walk in front of one and they won't shoot. They'll sit there and turn and kind of look at you. It'll take about 5 seconds to start shooting. And that's been a massive complaint about this, is that they're so easy to kill, and that's a problem for a lot of people. But I think the point is that you're supposed to be the special pilot, like you're supposed to be this big person, and they're not supposed to be a challenge. They're just there to fill up the space. Like, I know that sounds bad, like they're just like, oh, should have changed it to not be 6v6. But I kind of like it because it just makes you feel like you're more than you really are, and it really makes you enjoy the game a lot more. Well, like, it's the grunts, it says it in their name, like grunts, and even off of Halo and other, I'm pretty sure other games, but grunts are just little people that you can pretty much kick around, like, with no effort, or...
Well, yeah, no, that's kind of exactly the point, is the grunts in Halo, like, no one ever comments on it, because they're just such little dinky little characters that run away from a fight, but that's the point, is they're just supposed to be there, like, they're just an easy kill, and it's just filling up the game to give it more... I don't know, playability. So, I don't agree with what a lot of people are saying about that.
And it's not like it's not like the grunts they can't kill or anything. Like, if you're in a group, like if you're in the wrong group of people and like grunts with specters and stuff like that, they'll gain up on you and they'll actually kill you.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't die from grunts. I've died like once from grunts because I was being stupid, but specters can kill you. Like,
oh yeah, specters can. They can do as much as damage as pilots do.
Well, yeah, and especially when you're in a Titan too. Like, that's something I've noticed, is that specters will start whipping out rocket launchers and tearing you down if you don't take care of them. Like, it gets pretty rough. So kind of going with what you were saying, how the game makes you feel. It's not even like just a feeling. You get excited when you play this game. Like, I don't know. It's a lot of adrenaline goes through you because it is so fast-paced and you have to have quick reactions. Like, that's something I noticed when we first started playing, is it's something hard to get used to have to react so fast because they can move away. Like, if you trap someone in a room, they're not actually trapped. They can get away. Like the first time I was playing, I trapped this pilot in a room, and I was expecting to just be able to kill him easy. He ran around all the walls and then out the door, and I was like, what? Like, you can actually do this? Like, this is crazy. And it's frustrating, but it's also, I mean, that's like a good frustrating, because it requires you to be skilled in order to do things.
And that's, I think that's why, well, it's not the main reason why they needed, wall run and double jump, or not jetpack jump or whatever. It's pretty much double jump. But the reason why I think they need that stuff is because, one, if there was no double jump or wall run, I mean, it would just be another standard first-person shooter game with mech suits, and then it's not even fast-paced. It's just going to be people getting on top of things and probably camping.
Well, yeah, and another thing, I think people misunderstand how big of a thing the double jump is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if you just had a jetpack, it's not really the same thing. Like in Halo, I noticed you can't really get anywhere. Like, you don't need to use, like, a boost. Like, it's weird because it makes the game a lot more fluid. Like, it's weird how quick you get used to it, but you can fly from, like, one building to the next, like, the gap in between, and you can land perfectly in a window because you just get the timing down. And I think that's a really interesting experience, is, like, being able to do that. Like, it feels really neat, and it's very unique to this game.
Well, even the wall run. The wall run's, like, really fluid in the game, and it's not really glitchy or laggy, or there's not a lot of problems with it, other than your head might go through a little detail in the game, and that's just, you know...
Well, yeah, and that's in every game, too. That's not specifically a problem with this. That's just something that a lot of games have.
It's not like no game can be perfect, you know.
You got it. Stand by for Titanfall.
And
we're at 25% of our mission goal. Let's keep it rolling.
As far as perfection, like, what do you think this game means? I'm not saying that we're at the end or anything, but, like, it's just kind of something I think needs to come up, is what does this mean for the future? Like, is this the definitive game? Is this the best Titanfall can be? Like, because I know there's a second one coming out, but, I mean, as far as this being a first-time thing, like,
I think it just came out at the perfect time, and the perfect, not perfect, I would say, but a more better time than ever, because Call of Duty just came out, right? And it honestly, some people say it blows, some people says it's alright game. But personally, I don't really like it. I get pretty mad at it pretty fast, but this game, like, everyone's like mech suits, you know, you can wall run, double jump, and they're like, oh, we never experienced that before, and they're like, Call of Duty, we're done with that already. We're like, no one wants to play Call of Duty anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of a difference between this and Call of Duty. The fairness of getting the mech suits. Like, in Call of Duty, it's hard to get kill streaks. Like, depending on what game type you're doing. Like, not necessarily hard, but I'm not good at getting good, like, KDs or whatever, so it's difficult for me to get kill streaks, so that's frustrating, because there's all those things that I could be using, but you don't get it. In this, you're getting a Titan no matter what. You have 2 minutes, and you're going to get a Titan no matter what happens.
And I like it how...
And I like cutting down time.
You can cut down time if you kill a grunt, you can cut down 2 seconds, or a Spectre, or
yeah, and
whatever.
It's extremely fair, and I think that's kind of an important thing, is you can't... Like, it's entirely based off skill. When you become overpowered, it's not the game that's the problem. It's not frustrating for you because you feel like the game's turning against you because you don't have everything everyone else does. Like, there's not a level up system that makes it more overpowered. Like, every gun's good. I still use the assault rifle that you get at the very beginning, the first gun, and I love it. And I just love how fair it is. It's just a very unique experience.
I think it needs a little bit more variety. Like, with the game modes and stuff like that, I mean, of course they can have, like, Last Titan Standing, because, I mean, they invented, you know, mech suits, and that would be really special. I think that's really cool, because you can be in it. It's a strategic way, like search and destroy, and you could time out, plan things with your teammates, you know, like, I want to go in my autopilot and he's going to just follow me, or I can have my Titan just stay with my group and just camp it out.
Yeah, that's kind of something interesting. I kind of disagree. I like where they went with it. I don't think they did too much, because if you put too many levels and too much variety, you sort of lose focus on the ones that you already have. If they put too much time into different things like that, then the things that they do have would be a little more like lacking. I feel like. So I feel like they did pretty good with what they had. It could do a little more, but I don't know. I kind of like where it's at right now.
Just coming from Call of Duty and stuff like that, I think I would like more game modes, you know. But it's an alright for it. I mean, this is just their first game. Well, I don't think I'm pretty sure they've done different games, but this is their first big game. Like I don't think no one's ever known about this company or anything.
Yeah, and something I kind of want to talk about is problems that I've had with the game, not gameplay, but like mechanics of the game, like how the game runs. If you're watching this video, you noticed at some point that the anti-Titan gun, the Sidewinder or whatever it is, when you're shooting, sometimes it doesn't even make sound. Like that happens a lot actually, is that sound just stops working on specific things, and that was a problem a lot before. Like after I upgraded my computer, it wasn't that big of a problem, but I'm still noticing it does come up a lot, and it's a little bit frustrating. Like it's not a huge deal, but it's very immersion breaking, and it kind of pulls you out of the game. It's very distracting, and also again with that is that there's been a crashing problem. Again, after I upgraded my computer, it didn't crash as much, but I've still had problems, and the only way to fix it was to go out of full screen mode, but there's no like borderless window mode, which I think they really should have added in. Like it's not that hard of a concept, and it's just not in there, and it makes it so the window's off to the side, and it's again immersion breaking. And wireless controllers, and this may be a problem with just the program I'm using. It may not agree with Titanfall, because I'm using a PS4 controller wirelessly with my computer. But the thing I checked was, like, I thought maybe it was just the controller that was the problem, but I use it on other games, and it was working fine. And as soon as I go back to Titanfall, it again has a problem, and it starts glitching out and sort of having like a double input. And that was a little bit frustrating.
Pilot, your Titan will be ready in 2 minutes.
Well, the thing about the controller is that I like it's compatible with Xbox controller, not because it's Xbox controller. I mean, Xbox controller is alright, and I'm more of a PS3 person. Like, I love PS3, but the controller is just not the Xbox controller, but having the compatibility with going with keyboard and mouse to controller. I mean, I love that because some people like me want to play Titanfall, but they don't have an Xbox One, so they go to their PC, but it's kind of hard to get used to from controller and compact to wide open, because the mouse and keyboard are very spread apart, and it feels
yeah, and it's kind of something you have to get used to, but
just I feel disoriented.
Yeah, that's kind of a good word. It feels disorienting. It feels weird. Like it doesn't feel right. Like I've been playing a lot of keyboard games, and I try to switch back to the controller, and it feels small, like out of place. Like it's like the opposite of what you were doing. And I used to not be able to play on keyboard at all. It's just I play games that force you to use keyboard, and which is good again that they allow you to use controllers on this. But it's just something you kind of have to get used to. So I'm glad they added that in. How do you feel about the controls, like the setup? Do you feel like it's pretty good?
I feel like it's great. Like it's normal first-person shooter setup. You can zoom in, zoom out. Pretty much everything's the same. Some stuff that deals with the D-pad, I kind of like, and then I kind of don't like. I think it would have been better if I could personally customize it. I don't know if you can do that.
Oh no, you can't.
Oh. So, I would kind of feel better if you personally can customize and set every button to whatever you want.
And that's not to say that you don't have key bindings for computers. Like, obviously, 90% of computer games have custom key bindings. It's just with controllers, for whatever reason, it's just not a thing that people do, which I really wish they would start doing. But luckily, like he was saying, this game has a good control setup. Like, it's pretty generic as far as other games go.
Yeah, like for first-person shooting.
Yeah, of course. One thing that I kind of noticed with the controls, what do you think about the toggle crouch?
Toggle crouch?
Like when you just press B button, you automatically crouch and you don't stand back up. Like it's.
I'm used to that.
Because it's different from most first-person shooters. Like usually you press and hold it, and that makes you crouch. I mean, unless does Call of Duty have that? Toggle crouch?
Yeah, they have toggle crouch where you crouch down, you stay crouched down.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm thinking like computer. Okay, so it's not for a controller thing. Controllers, that's normal. For keyboard,
You
it's not toggle
you
crouch.
have to hold it to crouch.
Yeah, and on keyboard, usually it's not toggle crouch, it's you press and hold. On this one it is, and it's kind of disorienting. I think there might be an option to turn that off, but I thought it was for this. And again, you can see the gun going silent.
Oh yeah, wait for a second. I think it's just so much is going on. You can't.
Yeah, I don't know. It may just be an optimization of sound files. Like I know, like every time you run Titanfall, it has to do a sound update, which is weird. I don't know why they keep doing that, but it may be fixed at this point. But I don't know. The one big thing is I like the authenticity of this game. I'm not gonna say it's realistic, because honestly, it's not. Like, it's a futuristic game, but like even the mechanics of the game, they're not something that's super realistic. But it's something that's new. Like, it borrows mechanics from other first-person shooters, but they're pretty generic things that you can't really not have in order for it to not be a first-person shooter. So I like how unique it is. It's just a very new experience, even though it borrows things from other games.
And I like change. Like I personally like change, but like I like to go back to the same game that I normally play, which is Call of Duty. But I mean, this is a really fun game. It takes some time to get used to. Like, you might have to play for an hour or two. I don't know, but it's really fun once you get it down and you know what to do and where people are going. And that's basically essential with Call of Duty. I mean, once a new game comes out, everyone's hopping on it first. Where does everyone go? Where does everyone do? And what guns are better when everything?
Yeah.
Kill streaks.
So what do you think this means as far as games go? Like, is this a game changer? Is this something that's gonna like change how other companies think about their games, or are they just gonna be like, oh well, it's just another game and we're gonna continue with what we're doing? Like, is this like, I'm not saying that they're obviously gonna all be using mech suits and wall running and different things like that, but is it gonna make them step up their game, or do they even need to? Like, is this just good where it's at and other people should leave it alone? Or
I think I don't know. Like, really.
Like, would you like to see a change in other games, or would you like to see it more like this, like the more fast-paced things, or do you like the slow things
I love fast-paced. Like, fast-paced is so much. I think fast-paced is way better than other. Just cut out there. But anyways, I think fast-paced is so much better.
Well, yeah, and so you notice that. You don't really notice it when playing, but after watching it, the guns cutting out is kind of obnoxious.
But I love fast-paced games. Like, fast-paced games is my game.
One thing I'm gonna comment on with the fast-paced thing, I think it's sort of genius the way they did it. Like, it's not even that it's just fast-paced, that it's something new. It's distracting. Like, the fact that it's fast-paced, it doesn't give you time to look at other things and comment on problems. Like, as far as graphics go, it looks good, but it's not the best-looking game compared to other games that are out right now.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean, there's so much.
Like, it looks good. Like, I'm not saying that it's a bad-looking game. Like, the texture quality's okay, but it's not the best. But the fast-pacedness distracts you, and it makes you just stay focused on what's going on. It doesn't give you time to look around. Like, I noticed that a lot in Call of Duty, is that when you're in a space where you don't have anyone around you and you're not killing anyone, you have time to just kind of look around at the environment, and it's sort of disappointing to see like what they do. But I like what they've done with this.
Oh yeah. I mean, they don't use the maps completely, and like most Call of Duties, or not, I wouldn't say Call of Duties, but most first-person shooters don't actually use the maps to the fullest extent. They kind of close it in a little bit, make it close quarters, and they don't want it to feel like everyone's so far apart. They want everyone to be like, okay, I need to get into this game, like, I can get into it within a matter of a few seconds, and not need to worry about, like, oh, this guy's gonna capture a point, or this guy's gonna do something that will be a great game changer, and you would just automatically fail.
Yeah. Sort of as a, not really a wrap-up thing, but we're running on like 30 minutes here. What do you, like, I really like the way the game starts and ends. Like, the feeling of just being dropped in from a ship, like, it's still the same concept as other games. Like, if you were to start on the ground, it would be the same thing. There's a countdown timer to the map starts, or different things like that. But I like how it feels, because it feels like you don't want to be on the battleground before, because you can die, so they drop you in. So that's really neat feeling. And also just the way it ends, like having to you have the option to either wipe out the people or escape. That's a really new thing that I really like. Like, that's something that I feel is an important thing that I think other games might actually start doing. Like, not necessarily the drop-in thing, because that's just sort of a generic first-person shooter thing. But as far as the ending goes, like, I've always noticed that it feels weird when you're playing games, and it just drops off out of nowhere. Like, it's just very disorienting, and you just feel like, well, I could have done something.
Yeah, I honestly feel like sometimes I'm like, whoa, you know, I won, you know, and just there's no like I would say show mercy or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you could either just let him go or pure up just kill him, which is,
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice thing that they put that in here. But one of the mechanics I don't like is once you're in the dropship, you have basically infinite health until the dropship explodes.
Well, yeah, but that would be still kind of unfair. I mean, if you got to the dropship, that's sort of your reward, is that you did that, so the ship can still be destroyed, but the door is open, which means you're open to anyone. And you can't hide, which means if you die, that's a little bit annoying.
Well, no.
That you got to the dropship and someone was able to just shoot you.
Yeah.
Because I get what you're saying, that it seems weird that you're just invincible right there. But, like, realistically, if you think about it, that would be kind of a problem if you were just able to die like that. Like, I'd be a little bit frustrated. So, Titanfall, good or bad?
I think for its first game and the company, you know, because the company branched off from a bigger company and they just grabbed a whole bunch of guys together. And I think it's a really nice game. I think it's a really nice game for just like the start of it, and they're gonna come out with a number 2, which they announced that they're gonna make it for like I'm assuming they're gonna make it for all consoles.
Well, yeah, and sort of the concept I don't even think it's good for a first-time game. I think this would be good coming from a big company. Like, granted, the people that made this are actually a pretty big company. Like, it's a compilation of a lot of big companies all together that split off. But that alone, I mean, for anyone, whether this is a new company or big, like, this is an impressive thing to start with, like, just to come out of nowhere. And it was really interesting to see. Like, I feel like this is a game that actually had a storyline that was fleshed out, like, not necessarily gameplay storyline, but, like, for people that wanted to make it, they put everything into this that they thought a game deserved. And I thought that was really unique, and it makes it sort of a new kind of concept. So, Titanfall good then. This is honestly one of my favorite games.
It's pretty good.
It's very addictive. Once you start playing, it's kind of hard to stop.
This is one of my, I wouldn't say favorite, but I like multiplayer on this. I don't really like campaign because it's online. But
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's
got its goods and bads.
an
But
alright.
it's more good than bad in my opinion. So
yeah.
all right. Well, thank you for listening to us talk about Titanfall. It's sort of a new thing for us, and we're gonna try and do more and branch out from just recording games, become a bigger channel. And we're gonna start recording again since I have a bigger computer. But that's something for a different video that we can discuss. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching.
See you in the next video.
Bye.